Geekication, Laurie Kilmartin.
It's happening. You're in the darkness.
I am in Telluride. I'm on the balcony of my hotel room, which has a gigantic island, like HGTV kitchen. It's incredible.
Weird.
You would not believe how little I'm being paid, given the luxury I'm in right now. It's unbelievable. I'm wearing a terry cloth robe, and my clothes are being washed in the washer and dryer that's in my hotel room.
Wow.
Yes.
That is relatively amazing.
And yet I'm being paid comically little. Minus a tiny commission to Bruce. It's really, I don't know what's happening. And I missed 5 of my son's water polo games. But it was really fun.
5?
Yes.
You've only been there for what, 2 days?
No, I came in Thursday and I'm leaving on Monday, and he had a tournament this weekend.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
But it was a lot of fun. I was with Katrina Davis, and she just moved to New York like a week ago, and she just took her first solo subway ride. It's really cute. And Troy Walker, who organized the whole thing originally from Denver, in LA now, and Adam, Kate, and Holland, also from Denver, still living in Denver. And it was really fun. We had really fun shows, lots of little shows. Like last night, the Roots played, and then we followed the Roots we were at a different location, but our show started late. But I've never been here before to Telluride. Have you?
Maybe. Doubtful.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I get all these little like Aspenvale, Telluride. They all seem like one little place I can't afford. But
right.
But Telluride is actually, they say it's like Switzerland, because it's like going to Switzerland. Like I'm staying at this other location that's across a mountain, and you have to take a gondola up and over, and it's like 20 minutes, and it's unbelievably beautiful. The first night my show was at 10 o'clock, so I didn't leave here till like 8:30, and it was pitch black. I was alone in the gondola, and then it just started going downhill in the dark, and I couldn't see a thing. It was so crazy.
Nope.
The stars, the planets, I can see everything.
Yeah.
It was really lovely. And I'm going to try to wake up early tomorrow and like just walk around, because we had shows like during the day, and so we never had like a whole day to kick around and then do a show at night. It was like we get a nooner, and then a 4, and then a 10. So it was like and our hotels were the gondola right away. So it was like they were like an hour away from the venue. So we were kind of like out a lot.
Yeah, just trying to rebuild. Trying to make sure you're there on time and everything. I did some show. What was it? I felt like it was outside of Aspen or Vail or something, and it was the kind of place that was like you couldn't afford to live in Vail or Aspen.
Yes, it was.
So you lived this one town over. I can't remember which one it is, but I'm fine. It's
those towns.
You ski?
No, and there's no snow right now. But you know what's weird? Like, and I flew into Grand Junction, which is over a 2-hour drive. So tomorrow I'm getting a 2-hour shuttle to it's like it's an odyssey. And have I mentioned I was being paid very little? Now, yes. But the shuttle driver on the way here, there's a whole bunch of guys our age that are just total ski bums, and that's all they do. And our shuttle driver just is like a handyman and works for cash, but he and his wife bought a house in Telluride in the 90s for like $200,000. So they're technically trillionaires, but he's still taking $20 for a shuttle ride and stuff.
Well, and he can't. Like, if he sells the place, it's the classic, where's he going to live next?
Yeah, he's gone. Know? Yeah.
Can't live here. Can't live there. That's fascinating.
Yeah. And so,
I have a gig in Park City in January.
Oh, neat.
Utah, which is comparable.
It is. I've never been there.
Which I'm looking forward. I've never been there either, but it's during Sundance.
Oh,
or something, or whatever film festival.
Yeah.
Whatever film festival's happening, I'm going to be there during that time. And it,
that's neat. What's
Yeah.
the show?
It's just during the festival show.
Is it just having stand-up
there's
comedy?
Yeah, they're just having this. Keith Barony
Mm-hmm.
is opening for every single one of those shows, I believe, for 9 days. And then there's 9 different headliners. And I've got to do 55.
Nice.
And yeah, so I say whatever the market can bear, I'll do as much as I can. And I don't know. Yeah, I haven't worked with or for him in easily 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so I haven't seen his act. I did so many sets this week. My voice is scratchy. Like I went to various, and I have this to say. I have, okay, Neil Justin, thank you for mentioning me in passing the fact that I am in Minneapolis this week. Please come to the shows. I would love at one point to sell out my own home club. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday 2 shows, Saturday 2 shows.
Yeah.
Acme Comedy Company. Tell anyone who lives in Minnesota or Western Wisconsin that I'm there. And so Margaret Cho, Dave Chappelle, and is it Kevin James are all doing shows different nights this week.
Kevin Hart, right? Or Kevin James?
I thought it was Kevin James.
Oh, King of Queens guy?
King of Queens guy?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And to my knowledge.
So that's your competition? Yeah. Oh, shit.
Right. Night after night after night. There's a chance to see other comics.
Oh, my God.
And so Neil it was mostly an interview with Margaret about working the road and bringing her tiny dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's just doing the show Friday there.
Mm-hmm.
And, but the thing he quoted this thing about Jackie Cation, something like a comic so smart it makes your head hurt. I was like, nobody's coming. Nobody's coming to that show.
What?
So I just want everyone to know that I have a new poop joke. I have actually my first ever poop joke. How about that? And if you want to hear it, yeah.
Jackie, that's a nice compliment. I think they meant well.
Oh, Neil Justin does mean well. He is a delightful man. He loves my comedy. He thinks possibly that is a draw.
This guy, again, God love him, thinks that people are interested in hearing from smart women. I mean, I love his optimism, but it ain't happening. So thank you. I appreciate it, fella.
Right. Let's run up the flagpole 57 years from now.
Oh,
how about that?
They're not going to like that. Not then either. Jackie, what a week in comedy. Speaking of things that are
a lot of
trending on Twitter.
Drama. Hassan? I know Hassan. Not well. But, enough to go, hey, Hassan. And him go, hey, Jackie. And it turns out some of his premises of some very dark, supposedly very personal stuff weren't true by his own admission, right? The anthrax one is the one that pops up in my mind.
It was such an interesting, I think it's Hassan Minhaj. I only know because I watched the clip of him.
I've been saying his name wrong.
You have been.
Sorry, buddy.
A lot of people have, and I'm sure it's happened a lot. I just remember the clip of him walking his name walking Ellen DeGeneres through his name.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, there was the one thing or the two things that bothered me were the fact that he made up a story about the woman he went to prom with, or he didn't go to prom with, and the story ended up getting her doxxed and harassed. And he didn't seem to care about that. That was like real shitty. And the other thing is he altered a timeline using the murder of Khashoggi, the journalist who was dismembered and then like probably burned by the Saudi prince bin fuck, I forget his name. He's evil. We know who he is. We know what he looks like. So he kind of like changed the dateline of that to work in a joke. It's like,
remember that I have that face thing, so I don't actually know what he looks like. But he did.
Bin Salman, I think.
He did.
Yes,
he changed a bunch of stuff, and at least 3 very like sort of signature bits.
I know. It's
right.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, like. You know, a comic, I feel like our job is to get a laugh. That's it, you know? And
well, that's the gig for sure.
Yeah. And the thing is with like Hassan and with Louis, what people, they have fans that love them, right? And the reason people love a comic is they love their persona. They love what they think is true, you know?
Right. They love kind of the backstory, you know, the sort of right. And with Hassan, let me just say that his backstory was that he was slightly oppressed and that a
bunch of terrible shit happened to him. Yeah.
By a lady, you know, he was nerd bullied as a nerd, and so didn't date. And then,
well, no, that it was racist, and she ended up, you know, being married to an Indian guy, and then I think he like cribbed a story, like a real life story about the FBI, and made it like it happened to him, and it was just like, oh my god. So you would think, you know, he you know, and he's totally allowed to do all that stuff, but part of what people like about him is they think that's true, and they think he's like overcome all that. And so when it's not true and people find out, you're going to pay the consequences from your fandom, just like with
your fans are going to be sad,
and angry, and maybe not be your fans anymore. Like with Louis, you know, he was like a feminist, like he was a funny dark feminist. He had daughters. He was like that cool. That guy was a dick, but he was a feminist, and I was like, oh no, he's just a dick. And so he lost the people that loved that about him, but then he gained the people that like the fact that he's a dick who pulls his dick out.
Right. And it's the only, and in my opinion, it's the only punishment any of those guys get is their fan base changes.
It changes.
They don't lose, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, instead of $1 billion, it's $500 million.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so it's still not check to check. So it's fine.
Yeah.
But I would hate to lose my fan base.
Right.
I mean, my fan base is very much nerd based and you know, we're a pile of hothouse flowers, man. We want to make sure you're having a good time, and is everybody having a good time? It's like I used to do that joke about having sex with lots of people, how I couldn't do it because I'd be like, "Are you having fun? Are you having fun? How's it going back here?"
Yeah,
you know, gonna get you something,
Jackie. If your fans find out what I know, which is that you don't play video games and you love the NFL, they'll. You're finished.
Imagine if that were true. One time I tweeted many years ago. I tweeted out that that the Packers seem to win when I'm vaguely interested, but I only watch like sort of via like when I actually watch a Packer game, they lose. And so many of my Wisconsin-based fans were like, "Stop watching. You're jinxing it." And so I know a little bit about, I know more about the Packers than I thought I would ever know.
Yeah.
Only because of osmosis. So yeah, no, but I wouldn't want to lose that fan base. And I think that's
you would,
sad.
You won't, because who you are, who you present yourself as who you are.
Right. There's very little,
much to my chagrin.
Right. Much to my, this is, you get what you see,
But you know, it sucks. So, this happens so much, and we can even get to Russell Brand in a minute, but like the industry keeps elevating people that do this, and the people that don't, they just don't give a fuck. You know,
Right.
and we're
Right,
like,
they just blow off the fact that, the Steve Ranazizi, the
oh my
hero of
God.
9/11, he,
Right.
there was no reason. It was just compulsive lying. It
Yeah.
didn't have anything to do with, he was in New York, but that is it.
But
And it was tragic and very traumatic for everyone who was in New York.
right.
But the story that he ate off of,
Mm-hmm. That kind of
didn't-
got him the auditions, that got him the show he was on. Right.
a little bit,
Yeah.
but he was also doing quite fine without it.
Yeah.
Like he kind of didn't need, in my opinion. I don't think he needed it.
Yeah.
I think it was just compulsive.
I'm sure.
lying.
Yeah. I think you said it once and then you're like, well, oh shit, I can't walk it back. So I'm just going to go all in. I mean, I guess if you are going to lie, double down,
triple down.
Yeah. And make as much money until people find out. And then,
and still work he does all the chains.
Sure. Yeah. And we don't.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite Bamford jokes right now about sexual predators.
Yeah.
It's like, some of my coworkers are sexual predators. Where are they now? Well, we know where they are. They're on tour. And
I know. It's just, it's so frustrating.
What happened with Russell Brand? I missed that.
Well, there was a very long, detailed, really kind of awful investigation of a lot of sex crimes that he's committed. He has long, apparently, I didn't really know this, been rumored to just be like a pest, and people and women always told stay away from him. London Hughes, who's a British comic who just moved to the States, to Los Angeles.
And it wasn't just his stand-up that people wanted to get away from? Oh, hi. Guess who said that out loud?
Yes.
It was me.
I got it.
Russ. Okay.
So London Hughes, who's a British stand-up, was saying that when she signed with him, she said this on Twitter, that her agency said, do not sleep with him. He's going to try to sleep with you. And then when he does sleep with women, he gets sick of them, and then he tries to kill their careers because he doesn't want them around, right? Catherine Ryan, who's a Canadian comic, you probably have met her because she pops in LA. She's
okay.
Yeah. You would know if you saw her. She kind of like alluded to it. He hadn't done anything to her, but she'd heard all this stuff and she alluded to it. And, people are trashing her for even alluding to it. This is before this thing came out. And so like one thing he did, he was sleeping with 16-year-old, which is apparently not illegal in England. Heads up, pedophiles. But
Update was your passports, fellas.
So he was working on a show on the BBC, which is a government sponsored network in the UK, and the limo driver was taking the 16-year-old to Russell Brand's house, hired by the BBC, by the way, the limo. And he said, I have a daughter your age. Please don't go into this guy's house. Because he knew what would happen to her. And she said this, that he said this to her. And she, obviously looks back on it now and goes, I wish I had listened, but you're 16, Anyway, he did a lot of really.
Yeah, you're a child, it turns out. And your decision-making processes, not fully developed.
Not at all.
Okay.
And so he did other stuff. And with these articles, somebody pointed out, they have to go through so much legal shit to get even these like 4 stories out, that there's so much that they couldn't completely vet, and be lawsuit proof that he did. That's not even there.
Stories that he has attacked these women.
Yeah, right.
Or tricked children into touching his bits.
Tricked children and raped a couple women. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And now he is known as a super sober. Like, this guy is supposed to be some guru, right? Like, people have been like, have you seen Russell Brand talk about his sobriety and his recovery? And I was like, no. Is it great? How long's he been? Do we know how long he's been sober, or what his jam is, or when these things happened? Like, was he a monster on drugs? Not that it makes it okay.
Yes, and he blames his sex addiction for things he may have done
for drugs and alcohol, or.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I don't believe any word a rapist says, so I don't know how long he's been sober or what. But he used to be kind of very leftist, and then he's been doing that, Jimmy Dore pivot to the right on a lot of stuff. And so
Oh,
now,
Jesus.
so before this article dropped, he and there was like a TV show as well, like a 60 Minutes kind of thing called Dispatches. I've never
Yeah.
seen it.
Oh, right.
He did this like preemptive video saying, "Oh, I've been accused of 6 crimes, and I just want you to know that it's big pharma coming after me," because he's anti-vax, Oh, it's
God.
so
That
bad.
accent is so brutal.
It's so spot on,
Okay,
I
keep
think is what
going.
you meant to
Yeah, I
say.
don't. Yeah, what I meant to say was, oh my gosh, were you raised in London, the East Side? Because it's amazing. Go ahead, rhyming slang now. Anyway, so go.
So yeah, so he put out this video, and there's this hilarious, my encounters were, and then there's a weird edit, consensual, and it's like, wait, what did you cut before consensual? It's just so bad. He's just
Like he edited it himself,
or
right?
his
Like it
team.
wasn't a real editor. No, because if you have a real team, they can make it look sweet.
Well,
They can do all
they
kinds.
did.
Right?
They did their best.
They did not.
Who knows what he left
He
out?
probably just did it on his phone, like I do mine.
Oh no, he did
Smash cut, smash cut.
It's from his studio. These guys all have studios in their whatever. We're the only, Jackie, how authentic are we? I mean, you're in
Auténtico. That is us. We are Auténtico.
and it doesn't
Could
help.
that be the name of the show?
So yeah, he's a total rape. And then there, of course, there's the backlash, and then there's some female comic, I forgot her name. She's blue check, so she's paying for Twitter, but her bio in Twitter is like a canceled comedian, and it's like, oh my fucking god. And she's like, I almost slept with Russell Brand, but we didn't sleep together. He was a gentleman, and and then it turns out she's like a TERF and all this. Like, it's of course activating.
Right, she's troubled.
This whole thing is activating people on both sides of gender stuff, and all the people that are calling everybody, calling drag queens pedophiles, and are upset that trans women can go in the women's bathroom. Now that they've got an actual guy who groomed and fucked a 16-year-old, they're fine with that. They're defending him. They're like, it's not enough proof, It's really gross.
Yeah, it sounds gross. And here's another problem. His stand-up is mediocre. How about that? Why don't we all just admit that guy is just okay? He shouldn't be filling stadiums.
Jackie hears about rape accusations, and she goes, even worse. He's not a good comic.
Even worse. It's remember that Canadian guy? That guy was a giant fucking hack.
Which one?
The guy was the one who sold the T-shirt with the frog on it that said "Rub it."
Oh, I don't remember
okay.
that guy.
That you're not missing anything. He genuinely the worst. And that was my favorite thing when he got arrested for attacking waitstaff.
Oh, he did?
Every comic I know was like, have you seen his stand-up? It's the worst. and one of the things he supposedly said to the waitress before he attacked her, and she got away, but he said, you should be psyched I like you. You're just a waitress. I'm a comedian.
Oh my God, I'm a comedian?
The hackiest rape line ever.
Oh my God. And just to brag that you're a comedian in this day and age, it's embarrassing to be a comedian. It's humiliating. I want no part of it.
I know. I just want to tell jokes. Leave me alone. And so I left my phone in the house.
So you can't be distracted? Oh, okay.
I can't be distracted. And I had so many wait a minute. Oh, don't go away, JK. But I did so many sets this week. It was so great. And I was tired, but I was happy. And I did a West Side. I remember that. I remember I did a West Side.
Yeah.
With Greg Fitzsimmons and Nate Craig, who I like both those guys.
Yeah, a lot. Macy
Isaacs was there. She's great.
Oh, yeah.
and a woman who I met whose name is escaping me, but somebody showed me her Instagram and it had like it seemed like she was very successful. Anyway, but
are you shorting out right now?
a little bit. You know, I have a scratchy voice and a was weird sinus headache, and I've been super tired. So I took a COVID test because I'm going to Minneapolis tomorrow. Because I'm doing a panel on Tuesday day about getting canceled at Hamline University. Me and Greg Coleman, they wanted me to come in a couple days a day early and do this weird panel.
Right.
And I was like, okay, will you pay for the hotel? And they're like, yes. So it's gonna be a great week. But I have the scratchy throat and I'm super tired. And I think it's because I did something like 9 sets, and in LA where you drive everywhere, and it's I don't know why, but it felt like a lot. And last night I did 4 sets at Flappers.
Ooh, nice.
2 at the Yoo-Hoo, 2 in the Main.
I love it.
Freaking loved it.
Yeah.
I did 1 opening for Leno. Leno's hour right now, tight.
Yeah.
Hilarious. And dude, 73 years old, had the funniest stories about how his parents he'd go out to lunch with his parents here. And one time his mom's, Connie Francis, was in the restaurant, and his mom goes, "Do you know Connie Francis?" And he's like, "Yes." And she's like, "Can I meet? I love Connie Francis." And he's like, okay. So he takes her over to the table and he says, "Connie, this is my mother." And and his mom, I guess, said to Connie Francis, "I am such a huge fan. What happened to you?" Which is such a mom thing to say.
Yeah.
And I guess his dad does something comparable. It's like, he had they were just really human, you know. Yeah. It was nice. It was great. And then he had some good jokes about being he had a very funny joke about being an old guy, and a young woman said, "Can I give you my phone number?" And he said, I was thinking to myself at first, you still got it. But, you know, I've been married to Mavis for these 100 years. So I was like, I'm going to tell her, no, I'm married. And then she said, "I do home care."
Oh my God.
And I only tell those jokes to you because Jay Leno doesn't have any albums. He won't do albums. He doesn't believe in them. So what the fuck? You're never going to get to see him. Why don't I tell his jokes?
Wow. This is the new Jackie Cation, and she's going to get.
Yeah, it's a little aggro.
You're going to get canceled and be a millionaire.
Oh God, would you like to open for me at the stadiums?
Yes.
In Prague. So
that's really cool. And so wait, I saw some who's the 95-year-old comic that was on your Instagram?
Okay. So I did back and forth. And Paul Dooley is his name, and he is a character actor. You know him. He played the dad.
He looks familiar.
Away.
Yeah.
He played the dad in 16 Candles.
Okay.
He's been on every SVU, ER, Grey's Anatomy. The dude he's 95 years old. I don't know if he just started doing stand-up.
Oh my God.
He literally was on stage. They weren't bad. It wasn't bad. He had notes because he's 95. Right. He gets to. And I never ask for a picture. Like, I rarely ever ask for a picture, right? Yeah. So I asked for a picture from Conan when I was on Conan. Yeah. I asked for a picture. I couldn't do it during Corden because it was locked down. Yeah. I asked for a picture with Leno the first time I worked with Leno, and Paul Reiser when I worked with Paul Reiser, and this guy, and Alex Trebek. One time I just saw him.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And that was really cool too. And I was like, I don't know how to not ask you for a picture. Can I please have a picture? And everybody's always, if they aren't swamped, they're psyched. Yeah. Yeah. It's flattering. Yeah. I like it when people ask for my picture, and I'm never swamped. That's what you should all know. So.
Jackie, I wish I had waited till I was 95 to start stand-up comedy, because how different would my life be? How happy would I be right now?
Still be writing code?
Yes, I'd be a programmer. Oh my God, I'd be paid in shares of a startup that did great before it
Or didn't.
or
Yeah, one of those things.
before it stole money from its investors. Oh man, Jackie. Then I could be living in Telluride with all these rich people. We just keep sitting next to people, and they all assume that we're rich. Like us comics, we're just hanging out in the exclusive backstage area, and I guess they just think everyone is a multi-millionaire and has houses and multiple houses in wealthy areas. And it was Katrina and I were like, oh my God, just the discussions, the dropping of homes.
What'd you hear? What'd you hear?
Well, we sat next to two people, very attractive older people that one of them, the man had hired one of the main acts at this festival to come to their other home to sing happy birthday to the woman. And they just, all they do is they follow musicians, and they follow, they're like really rich deadheads. There's a lot of them.
Oh, wow.
And they like Bonnie Raitt was here on Friday night. And then the Roots were Saturday. The Roots were fucking amazing.
Wow.
And then there were the Revisionists were here tonight, and the Word. It was really, I'm not a huge music person, but I would never go to a festival on my own, as a music fan. It's just too many people, and it's all hot, and whatever. But but being forced to be here was quite enjoyable.
Yeah, I like when there's a comedy tent at a music thing, and then I've seen music.
Yeah,
I've accidentally seen music. I got jazzed at some. I went to the beignet box tonight with Andy.
Mm-hmm.
We went on a date this week because I was like, and I put it in the calendar and didn't ask him. Like 3 weeks ago, I said, "Want to go on a date with me tonight?" And that was 3 weeks ago, and he finally noticed it like 4 days ago. And he was like, "I do want to go on a date with you. Where do you want to go?" And I was like, "Anywhere, any fucking anything." And but tonight we went and met some friends at that Chinese restaurant. Have you ever been? It's not bad. It's on, it's not Monterey Park, but on Ventura. It's called Green Apple. You would like it because it also has shitty Chinese food.
Wow, well, that's an insult.
I assume that you like American Chinese food.
Wow, you're coming at me with these attacks, and I don't appreciate it. I only eat at restaurants that Drew Carey is buying all the meals for me for. So no, I have not been to this place. I went to.
It's been there for decades.
I went to last week when I was picketing after our picket. We went to. Oh no, it was like the big SAG-AFTRA Unity rally. That was at Paramount, and then myself and Jose Arroyo, who's a Conan writer, and we went to Swingers, which Drew Carey's also buying all the meals at Swingers for Writers Guild. And then Berkeley Johnson, who was a Conan writer, was like, walking by, and he sat down. So we, it was like a little reunion. It was kind of cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
I've eaten at Bob's Big Boy twice with writers who got their meals for free.
Yeah.
And he's not covering SAG. SAG's too big.
It is.
But that's fine. But I will say that, so I was sitting in the beignet box, which was next to the Chinese place, and I was jazzed at. And it was a jazz version of, I think it was a Bare Naked Ladies song. And it just kept going. And I was like, and I turned to Andy and I go, "Is this jazz? This is jazz, right? I'm being jazzed at." And he goes, "It is jazz and it's great." And I said, And we part ways.
Are you divorced now? I don't know how the story ends.
It just, I like big band. I don't like jazz. I'm a simple woman of the people.
I love jazz.
I like 70s rock that has has a nice horn section.
Mm-hmm.
Not a fan of jazz. Jazz is a mess for me. So I probably it's poetry and music, and I don't know enough about it to get it. So there you
go. Shall we take a break, Jacqueline?
First time Laurie's ever had us go to break.
So do we have?
Good eye.
Do we have? Are we recording right now?
Yeah.
Do we have
yeah,
her comic?
Comic of the
Do we
Week.
have
Yeah,
her
I wasn't sure
Instagram
if it
handle?
say-
Can you post
Oh,
that?
here it is.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't have the
Assad
chat up because
Kari
we're
rocks.
using the new
Oh, I got
interface,
it.
but it seems to be working.
Okay. So our comic of the week, this is a total overlook. I thought we did her like years ago, like in a previous millennium. Kari Assad.
Kari Assad.
Very funny.
So funny. I worked with her that's what I did on Monday night.
Yeah.
The Mermaid.
Yeah.
Over at the Monday night.
At
Yeah.
Valtazi's. Yeah.
Yes. And she got up and she was so funny.
Yeah.
It was just, it's one of those, there's so many of these younger comics that are just that silly smart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That I love so much. They're not so smart that your head hurts. They're just silly and smart.
They don't
so
cause
you
you harm.
Right.
I actually Jackie causes CTE in her audience, so be warned.
What does that stand for?
Concussive. It's like the football injury.
Oh, yeah. Jackie's more likely to fall down the back steps of the Alameda Comedy Club and cause her own CT problems. But Kari was so
Assad
funny.
Kari rocks.
So funny, you guys. And what's her handle again?
ASSADKARIROCKS. Go follow and book.
Yeah, she's a Kari Kari. So it's like Kari. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Very funny. Nailed it. And then the next night I did the barbecue place.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working on a new I got a tight 6 if we ever stop striking for Fallon. And
yeah.
I got a Fallon. I have an idea for a Fallon set.
I would love to do
whoever's
Fallon.
willing.
Yeah.
I'd rather do Colbert probably. If Colbert's
I wouldn't
stand up still.
I wouldn't be musing about which one you'd rather do on a podcast.
I'd love to do both of them. I have 2 6-minute sets. Gentlemen, think about it. Jackie-cation is available.
Fallon is live, right? And he's there. So he's enjoying your set. And Colbert, maybe they'll change this when they came back, but they were doing the thing that Ferguson started, which is they film like 10 comics all at once, and then they just save the tape, and then Colbert throws to the tape. So you don't get to do your set in front of Colbert, that's part of the fun. I hope they change that. I mean, I understand why they don't, because it just saves a lot of time, and it
saves time, and everyone knows that they're seeing stand up. So I see why they might want to do that.
Yeah.
But I do like to do it in front of the famous person who
Yes, you want the handshake and great job or whatever. And
remember how important that the Johnny Carson come on over and sit down situation
career maker. Yeah.
Yep.
Did you know Geechee Guy at all?
I didn't.
He was so nice and a really funny and really great joke writer, and he passed away. He's our age, and he just died in his sleep, I guess. I don't know, if he had some other stuff going on, but he died I think in the last week or week and a half. And I think he won Star Search. This guy wrote the shortest jokes. Oh my God, so good. And he was still working,
That's its own gift. That's a real challenge to write something that tight.
Yes.
Where it's just that Stephen Wright edge.
Yeah. That length. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was great. So R.I.P. to Geechee Guy.
I did 86. I paid to see Stephen Wright. It was the first, possibly the only time I've ever paid to see stand up.
Yeah.
And because I was so fascinated at the time, 86, 87, I was like, what does that look like? 45 minutes to an hour of one-liners.
Oh my God.
And it turns out it wasn't. It was amazing one-liners.
Yeah.
And then he would kind of do a little story. He would do a little.
Oh, I didn't know.
Okay. Yeah.
Because, an hour of one-liners is exhausting,
Right. The memorization. Dwight York, Minneapolis guy. Did you ever get to meet him?
Gosh, it sounds. I think so.
Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he passed away?
No. He moved out of Minneapolis. I haven't seen him in a decade.
Okay.
So, but always very funny.
Yeah.
And that really short way of writing jokes.
Yeah.
But that barbecue, the Dave Williamson, is that right?
Oh, and El Segundo.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, it's a fun gig, right? Yeah.
It's a really fun gig. I had a really good time. And Matt Bronger was there as well.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
And Danny and Ian. I can't remember.
Danny Chalice?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks Italian,
about
talks
right.
about being Jewish.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And Ian Carmel? Or Ian Edwards?
Edwards.
Okay. Oh, nice.
And, nice work.
Yeah, nice
work.
done.
Yeah, it's a hell of a lineup. And the food was amazing. And
well, Dave
it was a
Williamson
really
and
great
his
crowd.
family, he does like comedy shows, and then he'll do a barbecue for the audience. Like he puts on a party. This is not my personality whatsoever. I don't want to cook for the audience. I want to leave the audience. So I can't believe he does. He's, those people that have a big personality and they'll just do all that stuff. He can do it. And he's a very funny guy, and he's a great cook. And he makes his own sauce that he sells after the show. I wish I was one of those
Dave
fun
Yates
party
does sauce.
comics. Dave Williamson,
Dave-
yeah.
No, Dave Yates does the sauce.
Well,
Yates.
Dave
Williamson
sauces
has
are
it
coming.
too. I mean, we
Oh,
got
he's
a
got
couple
sauces
sauce
too?
guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Uh-oh.
right. It's a weird merch thing. I also did the improv
Mm-hmm.
and ran into Brad Williams.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
for some reason, I was talking about I think Carmen Morales came up, and he was like, "Oh yeah, she used to feature for me, but now she's headlining, and it's so great that she's moving up, and she's so fucking funny." And I was like, "Yeah, she's so good." And but if you paid her right, I'm sure she would love to feature for you, right? I mean, anybody like the people that I feature for. I don't know. I'm not her manager, but I'm constantly, I guess, cannot stop meddling.
No, you can't. You really can't.
The fucking meddler.
And then you bring me into it by telling the story on our podcast, and people think I told the story, and they're like, "Wow, are you calling Brad cheap?" They're going to come at me, Jackie.
I'm not calling. No, Brad, incredibly supportive, bringing people out. That was the other one at Mermaid. Yeah, but he was just like, "Oh yeah, I bet you're right," is what he said.
Yeah.
And then he told me that some opener that he was working with, one of his features had sold something like $15,000 in merch in the 11 nights that they worked together.
I need to know who it was and what the merch was, and this podcast can't go on until I find out.
And all I did was some math on that, and I was like, "That's 500 pieces of something at $30 a pop."
What?
And I don't know who has that much luggage.
Put
What?
it in the chat. Put
Yeah.
it in the chat.
What are they? What? I don't know.
I don't know. No,
She
I don't
doesn't
know. I don't know what it was.
She's got that face name thing. She doesn't know who anyone is. She just tells stories that drive people nuts.
Yes, I do. And it's not, well, and it's, some people think it's a defense mechanism. Actually, no one thinks that, but I do right now. It's plausible deniability is what I guess I've got. But I will say that that's too much stuff to bring on the road unless you're selling bumper stickers for $30.
Jackie, no, it's not. What if, a lot of people send their stuff to the club. They just mail it, UPS, because they're selling so much they can afford the shipping charges. Not me.
Yeah.
My book about my dad's death doesn't sell so many copies that I can send media mail to various comedy clubs.
So who did I meet? I met Pinky Fox. Have you met Pinky Fox?
Yes. And she was a comic of the week a while back.
Right. And she opens for Patton.
Ah, cool.
Who was at the Improv on the road sometimes.
Yeah.
And was I talking to her about merch? No, I was talking to a woman named Tangerine at Flappers last night about her merch because she has a knit cap. Like I have a knit cap made of bees.
Mm-hmm.
And but it looked like it would be a good one for Jackie and Laurie.
Oh.
Kills like a guy knit cap.
Yeah.
And she said that she just does hers drop ship from TeePublic.
Okay.
as opposed to the place where I think Max Fun, we're about to see samples.
I'm excited.
I'm excited. The shirt looks good.
Yeah.
The hat there might be trouble.
A flight attendant. I wore my kills like a guy shirt on the plane, and I was like, I was prepared to cover it up in case it was considered a security risk. And the flight attendant, who ended up being kind of snarky during the flight, I was like, I might have this personality if I was a flight attendant, so I was sort of on her side. But she's like, "Oh, I like your shirt." I'm like, "Oh, all right, cool."
Yeah.
I was at the merch tent at this place, the Blues and Brews Festival. T-shirts are $30. Okay, all t-shirts. And Bella and Canvas. A lot of people are using Bella and Canvas, which we kind of looked at as the merch supplier. Just a heads up, that's all.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all of my shirts are now $30. They're just too expensive.
Yeah, right.
And I found the knit hat, and the knit hat is union made, and also postage went up. So the hat's got to be $30 too, and this will be the first week that I sell them.
Oh, I'm excited! I can't wait to find out how they sell,
how they go. That'd be great.
Will you take a picture of your merch setup, or have someone else take a picture while you're selling? Yeah. I just want to see what it looks like, because you seem to have so many different items going on. It must be confusing.
Very much so. It is the Walmart of stand-up comedy. The only thing that's still $20 is the challenge coin. That's because I get those in China, and they're still expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a metal coin. I feel weird charging $30 for that, so I charge $20.
Yeah, I brought my little pins, but it turns out that first of all, we were just billed as comedians, on the program, comedians at 4 p.m. So it's like there's no connection. And all the merch gets sold in this separate tent. And I was like, no one's going to buy a pin from comedian. Doesn't make sense.
Remember generic books? Remember when generic became very, very popular for a short amount of time? Was that the mid-90s?
I think generic drugs are very popular. Should we take a break?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You are on it.
Because it keeps popping up on my screen.
It's a new era.
Nice work.
Thank you. We're back.
I can't get the chat to work.
Okay. Well, Jackie, I have news for you on the COVID front. So if you're taking the home test, what you should do is swab right near your molars, the cheek. That's where and then go up the nose. That's where you're going to get the best sampling to see if you have COVID. FYI, that's for everybody.
So do the back of my mouth as well?
The cheek area by the molar, way back there.
Yeah.
So if you have it, there'll be little cells hiding out back there. More, and then the nasal. It's not pleasant at all. So the vaccines are out, although it seems like it's a bumpy rollout. I'm holding out to see if Novavax is coming out soon, because Novavax it promises an 8-month protection versus Moderna and Pfizer, which are 4 to 5 months. So I don't know. I'm crossing my fingers I don't get COVID in the next couple of weeks, but I think Novavax is supposed to come out by the end of the month. I'm just putting that out. I've done my research, and people should just putting that out there for people, because the Biden administration is not fucking helping.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, Anna Valenzuela had her surgery, and she was just 3-4 weeks ago now.
Wow.
And
hell yeah, she is.
She's opening for me this week at Acme.
Oh, cool.
And before, and I said, well, I'll borrow my sister's car and I'll pick you up at the airport on Wednesday when you get there. And she's like, I'm going to come in Tuesday, see if I can pick up a set. Do you need anyone to clean your house or walk the dogs or anything? Just make a couple extra bucks, because I'm ready. I'm ready to go. And I said, I have a BA in political science, and that tells me you're not ready to do anything.
Yeah, right.
Except for sit on the couch and then get up and do stand up for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Once or twice a night. How about that? Yeah, I get it. Are you kidding me?
I love that.
She's Charlie Hustle. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's doing the good work.
She's opening for me at the Comedy Fort.
Fun.
Yeah, in November. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So we don't have a link yet from the Creek. I'm assuming we're still. I mean, we have a contract, and so it's coming. I'm sure, but it would be nice to have it to promote.
November 9, 10, and 11, and the 9th is the Jackie and Laurie show, and the 10th and 11th are stand-up shows.
Yeah.
And weren't we talking about trying to get kind of a bundle?
Yeah, I think we were, and we'll continue that.
Yeah, we're going to try to get a bundle where if you come to the pod, you could also come to one of the stand-ups.
Yeah,
or you buy a
little bit less money.
You can bundle them together and get 2 shows for the price for a little bit better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's happening for you and I on the horizon.
10 minutes.
How much more time do we have, Kyle? I'm starting to get cold, Jackie. I'm outdoors in Colorado, and the aspens are swaying, and but I can see so many stars. Oh my gosh!
Right. I did a lot of Dork Forest this week, including one with Will Anderson, Australian stand-up comic.
Oh, you did Will's? Will was on you. Okay.
No, neat. Will was on me. I'm gonna do his probably in a week.
Willosophy?
Yeah, because he's in Sydney, Australia.
Yes.
And then I did a New York comic. He's like this week. It is going to be Will's on Tuesday. The Dork Forest will come out.
Yeah.
There's a plug, and he's going to talk about Australian rules football.
Oh.
He did the previous episode. It was cricket.
Oh.
And for an hour and a half after I talked to Will Anderson, I knew how cricket was played.
And then that's all. I think that's all you need, honestly, in this country.
Yeah. I don't think. What am I moving to India? It's going to be fine. And other than that, And then the next one I think is Minister Faust, who's a Canadian author guy who listens to the Dork Forest, who was like, he's written some novels, and he's like, can I be on the Dork Forest? I'm like, yeah, attainable goal, my friend. Mm-hmm. And he lives in like Edmonton, and he wanted to talk about anime. Made me think of you and your son, because all the and I wanted to ask you if you and your young man have seen
Ghibli.
It's a Studio Ghibli, right? Or Ghibli?
Ghibli, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, really? Okay.
Is it okay? It's one of those two, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And pronunciations. Have you seen Pompoko or Grave of the Fireflies?
No, but I'm sure he has. He's so far ahead of
Well, the weird thing about Grave of the Fireflies, like Miyazaki is the big name in Studio Ghibli, whatever. This guy was the sad sack, super dramatic guy, and it starts with an I, and turns out he's Japanese. But he, Pompoko is about it's essentially the rats of Nim fight back, but they're raccoons and they fight for the environment. Grave of the Fireflies is about 2 orphans who walk out of Nagasaki and try to live their lives. And I accidentally gave it to my nephew Salmon when he turned 8. And it was when I learned that you have to watch things before you give them to an 8-year-old. Because I called him like a month later, and I was talking to him on the phone. Salmon was the guy. He's an artist. He's actually worked for several startups, and he lives in San Francisco. Very successful programmer. But he did the Ranger of the Dork Forest T-shirt, the one where dorky things come out of the T-shirt. Anyway, but
why tease people like that?
Secondary market.
Why do that? You're just a cool, awful lady tonight.
Yeah, is there a secondary? Yeah, I'm on fire. But I will say that he's so okay. So I sent him this Graveyard of the Fireflies.
Salmon.
And I call him Salmon. And so I call him like a month later, and I'm like, hey, did you like that cartoon I sent you?
Cartoon.
And he goes, yeah. He goes, yeah, it was really sad, Aunt Jackie. But it was cool. And I said, it was sad? What was it about? He said, well, you remember the atomic bomb? And I was like, what did I send you? And yeah. So
Well,
we talked about that, and we talked about Attack on Titan, which he tried to get me to watch.
oh my God.
And
I was just going to suggest my kid and I could do an Attack on Titan because the part 2 of the last series is coming out in November, I think. And I fucking love it. It's so good. And you didn't start
so
it?
there's three seasons. I started it. I think I saw most of the first season.
Okay.
But the big people kept eating the little people.
And it's awesome.
And it was gross.
They're Titans.
And it was super.
Jackie, they're Titans. Jackie.
I know they're Titans.
Season 2, when they flip it, season 2 has the most incredible flip, and will have you.
The little people eat the big people?
No, they're Titans.
Okay.
Please stop with this big people, little people. It's angering me. It has you.
I just want to keep doing it.
And gives you empathy for the big people who are these wretched, horrible monsters in season 1. You got to watch it just to appreciate how they do that. It's incredible.
Okay.
It's incredible. It's
he said season 3 was his favorite.
It's like if you're a nurse and they make you love Richard Speck, who killed like 8 nurses.
Weird analogy. But I will say that, and then he had me, and then he goes, it's not more than 100 episodes. And I was like, stop. And he goes, they're 20 minutes each. They're not that long.
It's incredible.
And I was like, all right.
I've watched it twice so far, and maybe even 3 times because you keep going, especially the first season, you pick up a lot of stuff that is explained later and you're like, oh my God, they're setting up all this stuff. I love it. It's great. I'm watching, we're still watching The Walking Dead, and I was out trying to enjoy a stream today. And all I could think of was, wow, the stream is blocking the noise, and I wouldn't be able to hear if a walker came up behind me, and I did not feel safe. No.
You also couldn't hear if there was a bad guy coming up behind you. And then I'm using this last 10 minutes to explain the next 3 episodes of The Dork Forest.
Please, come on now.
The last one, it's a clock eater. So Kevin Goatee, New Jersey, New York comic, who, by the way, it's pronounced goatee. He said, "A beard I'll never have." And because my last name's Goatee, so I can't possibly.
Right.
And he decided he wanted to do 80s action movies. And he gave me the list of 80s action movies, and I said, "Are you 32?" Because it's literally Big Trouble in Little China, Point Break, Commando, Aliens, and RoboCop.
Oh.
And I was like, they're all from 1981
Accurate.
to 90, right?
87,
maybe 88. And he's actually not 32. He's in his 40s, I believe. But he's it's such a dude list.
Absolutely.
And I've seen most of those. I get it.
Have you ever talked to, I think Julia Clare might be an expert on the Pride and Prejudices, the BBC version versus the one who with Matthew, who played Tom Wamsgam in Succession. I think she is. I forget. Somebody is, but it might be her. But that would be a good one to pursue.
It really would be. Someone who's seen all of or many of the iterations of Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I enjoy Jane Austen, as you can imagine, because I am a lover of Regency romance novels. And Jane Austen, they weren't Regency romance novels when she wrote them. She lived through the Regency. So they were
novels,
romance novels. They were just novels, Jack.
I am.
I sure am.
Is Kyle typing "we're done" or what's happening?